What's going on there, folks? Good morning, good afternoon. It is the Earthmaster here on the start of the work week. It is Monday, February 27th, 2023. It's about 11:17 here along the West Coast in California, and the latest quake shows a 4.0 earthquake on the globe, also a 2.3 Northern California, 4.0 down here off the coast of the Middle America Trench, it looks like. All right, let's go ahead and jump into space weather activity here real quick as things ramped up overnight with the G3 class storming. It was forecasted and it did come in, bringing in some auroras down into the middle latitudes. A couple of different images here from the Lake Superior area. Seen a nice little view of the auroras. KP index peaked out right around the G3 storming level, which is KP index of 7. That is still ongoing and persisting. And the current aurora forecast there shows continued activity on the unlit side of the Earth. This could persist overnight in our region. Talking about Canada, Alaska, and possibly again down into some of the states on the northern tier states. Pretty crazy. This is all kicking up from a couple different CMEs. We just barely got a glancing blow from them, but definitely picked up some nice views up into the higher latitudes. The solar wind stream really ramped up here as far as the speed goes. Late last night, we've seen some speed conditions up around the 800 km range, which is, goodness, I don't recall the last time I've seen that. It's been a little while, a couple years since we've seen the speed up around that level. I just can't help but wonder what would happen if we had seen a direct blow from these two massive CMEs that kicked off here a few days ago. All just, I guess, a sign of things to come here because we are entering into a solar maximum. It's going to peak out right around the June-July 2025 timeframe. So this will continue to progress and be active here on the sun. So look for these conditions to prevail. There's an image here, it looks like, from Rocky Ray Bell in Keller, Washington. I guess this was, let's see, lights descended as far south as Colorado. Goodness. So Oregon, Minnesota, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Idaho, Montana. How come Idaho's not lit up here? Maybe nobody sent in any images there. In North Dakota. So pretty cool. Definitely pretty neat looking images here from the folks that sent this in to the spaceweather.com site. Tonight, again, may be possible here, folks. We're still looking at some elevated solar wind conditions here at 804. Protons are dropping a little bit, 3.04. But one of these sites here mentioned that we could have another incoming CME that could persist this elevated conditions into tomorrow. Let's see, G2 to G3 strong geomagnetic storms or conditions persist with another CME still predicted to arrive at some point today. This article was put out, looks like a couple hours ago. So yeah, if that does play out, then we could see these conditions, G2 and G3 storms, continue overnight here once it starts to get dark over here on this section of the world. But for right now, the folks on the other side are enjoying a show, I'm sure. And we'll continue to watch this and update this on a little bit later tonight on the update. But pretty cool. G3 class storm out there. We need definitely, I would love to see some down here in California, to be honest, but we would need a much stronger system to have that set up. Yeah, a couple different things enhance that solar wind speed and also the conditions that we're seeing last night and today. That had to do with, for one, a very large coronal hole, and then also two subsequent CMEs, or prior CMEs, I should say, that blasted off last week, and we just got a glancing blow, but still pretty nice to see some auroras up there in the higher latitudes. And some of the northern tier states there. Pretty cool. Middle latitudes getting in on the action. Sunspots. Well, we still have this one right here, which is still somewhat dynamic in terms of producing at least another M flare. There's a lot of different complex systems here. But behind that, goodness, it looks a little on the clear side. Not seeing any major sunspots. There's a little new development here, but it doesn't look all that impressive on the eastern limb of the sun. So the forecast looks like right now these probably a little bit on the elevated side. 99% chance for a C flare, M flare at 65. 15% chance for an X flare. I doubt that. But either way, the main sunspot right now that we need to watch is the current one here, 3234, which is it's starting to turn away from us. But if anything were to blast off from here, we could probably get a glancing blow, similar to what we are seeing right now. Let's see, what else is there? Yeah, crazy. Absolutely stunning and beautiful. One day I will definitely witness that. It's just a matter of time, I suppose, before we see something down here in Northern California. It's been possible. There's been the auroras down into Florida before, but some very strong storms have to take place here, and we got to be lined up directly for that to happen. I don't recall the last time the auroras made it down there, but I know it's possible. It has before historically. I don't know if it was during the Carrington event or not back in the 1800s. All right, let's see what else we got going on here for earthquake activity. Any strange stuff going on? There was a lot of uptick here across New Zealand last night. I did see that coming in. I was swamped with an essay I had to get done before midnight, and by the time I got done, I was just exhausted completely. So I didn't get a chance to do a late night update last night. But there was quite a bit of earthquake activity here stretching up across New Zealand. The question is, where did it go? Because I seen it pop up here on the globe. There was at least a 4-pointer or something, I believe, that kicked up around the New Zealand area, North Island. But goodness, what happened to it? Let's check out the GeoNet servers here real quick. I've seen a couple earthquakes come in. I know I wasn't dreaming. There's that 4.2, see? 4.2 is coming in, and that's the exact location where I seen it. North Island. Yeah, 4.2. Well, let's do some digging around and see if we can find out the signature of that earthquake. Let me look at today's movement. South Island showing quite a bit of earthquake activity. It looks like 3.0 just off the Alpine Fault down there. It looks like some ones scattered throughout North Island. Let's see what else we have here. A couple deleted events. 2.4 north of Taupo super volcano. There is a 3.5 along that plate bound. Well, somewhat around that plate boundary. There's that 4.37 hours ago. So it looks like it kind of looks like the globe is missing a couple earthquakes. Now, the globe consists of, there's that one from last night, one of the ones from last night. There was a couple. There was a 4.2 and then there was that 4.4. So there's definitely some earthquake activity missing down here in this region. And even bringing back the date, those disappear, and they kind of look like they were around the North Island area. I know we did see some movement up along the Kermadec Trench, but goodness, I could have swore that they were a little bit more, right there. Not up here around the Kermadec Trench area. This is just right around the North Island, New Zealand area. And, all right, let's see what we got here on the earthquake drums. Let's see if we can find those earthquakes. There's one of them at least. So for that, we want to go over here towards the North Island area, and this looks like about the closest region that we're going to see it. So yeah, there's at least one of the 4s and a couple other smaller quakes, maybe low grade 4 or upper 3s as well. Those did show up across the majority of the North Island stations here, well within the vicinity of it. But not for sure why the EMSC or the USGS is not reporting it. I mean, they basically took it down. I seen these pop up on the globe last night, and right before I was going to bed, I was like, this can wait till tomorrow. But earthquake activity definitely kicking up here around North Island, but not showing up on the globe. I find that rather strange. And I do have, let me double check here. I do have the USGS 1.0 and above, but I can adjust that 7-day. And then I have the EMSC World Last 50 on here. So unless it's been, it's just really weird, folks. Let me see here. If I bring this way back, I don't know, man. When was this 4.6 from? That's from like a week ago. So, yeah, there's definitely something fishy going on there with the reporting of the USGS and the EMSC data. It's not there. So, it's there, obviously, on the New Zealand earthquake drums pretty nicely. But although it did kick up and ramp up pretty fairly active last night, it looks like things have tapered off those since then. But there is a number of earthquakes there that are in the 4 range, and possibly maybe a little bit higher as well. That's not being reported from the USGS or the EMSC. We can see it showing up, right? That's what earthquakes look like on a graph, and that was looks like it was positioned right where I seen those earthquakes take place. So showing up here as well. All right. Volcano drums across the New Zealand area. Some of that will show some of the earthquake activity that's been kicking up there in North Island. I don't see any specific volcanic movement. Taupo supervolcano looks calm and clear. Some of the activity from last night being picked up on that seismograph there that popped up on North Island, New Zealand area. So, all right. So what is the USGS reporting? Looks like they're reporting a 5.6 Tonga region, 548 kilometers deep. That one coming in just last night. About the time areas down here were ramping up. So this whole region was showing a large uptick in earthquake activity. But that was expected. This was one of our quiet zones here that we were watching for movement. 5.1 yesterday, Kermadec Trench. And again, activity is missing across the New Zealand area, specifically right here. So continue to watch this and see how this plays out. Most of the movement here over the last couple days has been confined around the western edge of the Pacific Plate and the adjacent plate here, the western edge of the Philippine Plate. And we still have not seen a forward push of movement here. So that is adding further strain in our quiet zones that were the Kermadec Trench and New Zealand area. Those, again, popped off last night. They're quiet right now. But it appears as though most of the activity has shifted back behind this plate and adjacent plates over here. Kind of playing a little catch-up. That teeter-totter effect I chat about a lot. Right now it's tilting over here to this area of the Eastern Pacific Plate here and the adjacent plates. So let's see what we got here for the West Coast area. We do have one earthquake down here. Not West Coast, but off the coast here of Nicaragua. 5.3 coming in. 77 kilometers deep right there in the Middle America Trench. Prior to that, we did see another earthquake a little bit further down south into the Guatemala area, or down north, up north, excuse me. Up north. It's got to be that the solar storm coming in, interfering with my electrical components there in my brain, right? Short-circuiting a little bit. 4.3 Guatemala. That one coming in just prior to 2 o'clock in the morning. So definitely showing some activity up here across the Middle America Trench. We'll continue to watch that. South America region. Got some 4s and 5s kicking up here, and I think there's a little bit more, some smaller quakes being reported in that vicinity as well. There's that 5.3. Notice here on the globe, though, see, that's why it's kind of important to look at some of these smaller quakes that the EMSC reports, some 2s and 3s. And also, it looks like maybe another 4 or so that's missing from the USGS model. This whole area around the Middle America Trench shows increasing activity. And that's definitely a noticeable uptick in movement here across the area. Did see some movement, it looks like, off the coast here of Mexico, right around this area, but I don't think it's this one. 4.6 here from yesterday. No, there's a 4.6. There was a 4.2 a little bit further up north along the plate boundary off the coast of Mexico that was showing up. But hey, USGS, I guess, doing what they can, right, as far as reporting goes. It was the weekend yesterday, so maybe they're catching up just a little bit here today. Puerto Rico region, not a whole lot happening here. It looks like 7 earthquakes of various magnitudes between 2 and 3, being confined mostly to the swarming area of Puerto Rico. Texas, what do we got going on out there in Texas? Man, goodness, seen some severe weather stuff over there. We'll chat about that in a second. Yesterday, that was pretty crazy. A little bit of movement out in Arkansas. 2.1. That sits right at the southern end here of the New Madrid seismic zone. Some spotty activity across Oklahoma, and looks like uptick in movement here across the areas of the Pecos, Texas region. And a lot of times when that teeter-totter effect does take place here along the eastern Pacific and adjacent plates, we'll see inland activity kick up here in some of these oil fields and certain other fault systems out here, and that's definitely ringing true today. Movement up into Idaho, 3.0. That is just off the couple different fault systems up here. I thought it was a sawtooth fault, but that's a little bit further west here. A little bit of activity kicking up here in Idaho today. Yellowstone, let's see what we got. Let's go ahead and check out Yellowstone and see if there's any movement. Doesn't look like it. There's the Idaho quake here showing up on the seismograph. That's 3.0. A little bit of spotty activity there. Looks like it does not look localized though. It looks like maybe happening in Idaho. Maybe some smaller quakes that are not being reported. Let's see what else we got. Okay, so Pacific Northwest, relatively quiet. There's not a whole lot showing up here, at least being reported. Northern California, about the same. That could change though with the shift over here between the pressure differences along the eastern Pacific plate. Movement across the southern California area, getting a little bit of swarming here. Just a little bit off the White Wolf Fault zone. Couple ones kicking off down there overnight, and the Ridgecrest area showing a little bit of movement as well. The Garlock Fault shear zone looks quiet for now. The bad boy down here, San Andreas Fault, southern end of it, looks fairly calm and quiet for now as well. Got 1.3 in the Octello Wells area. That's just off the San Jacinto Fault zone. And yeah, West Coast pretty quiet for now, but just keep an eye on it with this shift in pressure out here. The Atlantic Ocean, got one earthquake out here, it looks like, in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. 4.8 coming in just after midnight. Let's see, up into Alaska. Notice a little bit of movement here prior to the subduction zone area. That could be an indicator of things trying to subduct, but it's very possible that that the strain is elevated here in this region. I know we had an 8-pointer 2021 within roughly within this zone here, I believe. But this whole subduction zone area is a major player in producing large earthquakes. 4.1 yesterday, 35 kilometers deep, 3.2 from yesterday as well. A little bit of movement up here into the Gulf of Alaska inland, though. It looks like some 2s kicking off here over the last hour. And 4.1 coming in. Was that this morning? Yes, it was just after 1, 35 kilometers deep. So definitely noticeable uptick here. specifically playing in this area of the plate boundary. The remainder of the Aleutian Trench quiet, Kuro-Kamchatka Trench, and the Japan region quiet for now. This activity here in the Mariana Trench area was from yesterday. Again, deeper quakes happening here into the subduction zone. That was followed up a couple hours earlier with a more shallower earthquake, and that tends to take place quite often here around these areas of the trench. Let me look here on the globe. Now there is some activity. Look at this here. Definitely some activity being reported there in Japan. 4.9 coming in. A recent quake. I'm talking not even an hour or so ago. Not for sure what's going on with the USGS, but they are awfully slow today in reporting their earthquake activity. So 4.9 Japan, 10 kilometers deep. Some threes out here around Taiwan as well. There's a super deep, look at this earthquake, 3.5. 750 kilometers deep? Is that even possible? That's like maxed out. That is like the maximum level, I believe, that an earthquake can be reported. I wonder if that's true or not. Let's see, 3.5. Source parameters provided by, oh goodness, I'm not going to try that, but Indonesia folks there. Yeah, that's a rather interesting earthquake there, because that is a deep one, and I think I think this maximizes out at 750 kilometers deep. So that's just incredibly deep. If this is the case, I'll check back on it and see if it gets reviewed or not. I mean, it says it's provided by these folks, but again, a little uncertainty as to if this is a legit earthquake or not, or the correct depth, I should say. But yeah, that's I think that's maximized out there. Oh goodness. All right, let's see what else we have here. Some older movement quakes, it looks like, around yeah, there's that 4.6 and 4.9, the Mariana Trench area. USGS is showing that. Just a spotty day, folks, in reporting, it looks like, far as the agencies go. Over here around the Turkey area, we are seeing westward migration here, away from the main region where we've seen all that earthquake activity over the past couple weeks following the 7-pointers out here in Turkey. We are seeing that momentum shift west here, 4.1, and some other smaller quakes here localized to this area of western Turkey. 2.0 coming in, the latest quake, it looks like here, central Italy, 38 kilometers deep. Let's see if anything else is being missed out here. Again, I'd like to know what happened to these earthquakes down here. It's just a little odd, folks. A little odd why they would disappear. That's why I tend to go to the seismograph station, so we can verify if, if there was a legit earthquake there or not. I can understand phantom earthquakes, being reported and then being taken down, but literally there was earthquake activity up here last night, and we've seen it on the Webby quarters there in North Island, New Zealand, but they were taken down. Nobody's showing them. I'm sure if I throw up the GeoNet servers up here, yes, they will, because it's being reported by them, but also the EMSC. I mean, they're just, most of the time they cover this regional activity. They're showing a 3.0, but they're missing out on the 4s and some other earthquakes there around North Island last night. A little odd. All right, let's see what else we got here. I got a 1 point. Let me check California here real quick again. A little bit of movement lighting up here on the San Andreas Fault, it looks like. 1.7 near Ridgemark. So we'll keep an eye on a couple different regions here. I know we're seeing activity inland here along the North American plate. inside here in some of the oil wells. That does mean some pressure out here along the west coast, even though we're not really seeing a whole lot of movement right now. We'll keep an eye on that area. Also, the Middle America Trend showing uptick in earthquake activity. All right, let's see what else do we have. The space weather is just a crazy deal. Weather today is shifting over, way over, really quickly. Remember last night, Oklahoma, actually about mid-afternoon, early evening, it was all just over here around western Oklahoma. And that storm system has shifted really quickly over here across portions of Ohio. Looks like could be getting in on some slight severe weather today. Nothing like what Oklahoma's seen yesterday. Portions of Oklahoma got hit with some tornadoes out there, and also around the OKC area. Goodness. Here along the west coast, looks like some marginal, not marginal, but just a chance of thunderstorms, it looks like. Where is our thunderstorm potential here? Right here along the west coast. I'm within this area. It's pretty windy. We did pick up some more rain overnight. Not for certain though if we're going to see enough instability to produce some thunderstorms, but we'll continue to watch that here along the west coast. I'm always up for a little thunderstorm watching. 40% chance here up along the Northern California, Oregon coast there. These guys been getting hit hard lately. That's right now. Later on this afternoon and evening, the threat persists, it looks like, across the west coast for a little bit of thunderstorm activity. And the models here are still showing a pattern out here along the west coast of consistency in terms of active weather. Got another system coming in. Looks like first week of March. Ooh, that's going to be a good one there with the low pressure system just off the area. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, man. Southern California. This is a very active pattern. Southern California just getting a whopper of a winter, and this is rather odd for them for a La Nina year. I'll tell you what, it's been a crazy triple dip La Nina. I say triple dip because this is basically the third year of a La Nina pattern, and most of the time that means well, drier out here along the west coast and wetter up here into the Pacific Northwest, but it's been completely opposite. This whole west coast has been just hammered with storms this season, which is awesome, and it looks like it's going to be a rather wet March as well. Gotta remember with all these systems coming in, they are just soaking the ground and the fault systems out here. This is a major plate boundary where the rainfall is occurring, and there's definitely some relation in between locked fault systems, very strained areas of the plate boundary, and a little bit of lubrication on top of that could activate some of these fault zones down here and the plate boundary itself, such as the San Andreas Fault. So we'll continue to watch that here in the coming days and weeks. And that, goodness, you guys see that? Look at this. Just massive storms coming into the west coast. Southern California, big one there. This one's a good one. And then, goodness, that's a lot of rainfall. I want to do a quick accumulated amount here and see what we got. Total accumulated precipitation out here. Looks like this only goes to the March 10th time frame. So over the next 2 weeks, it looks like a lot of snow up in the mountains again. Rainfall looks like anywhere between 2 to 4 inches here in the Sacramento Valley area. Of course, along the Coast Range, getting double that, if not triple. Southern California getting in on another 3 to 5 inches of rain. Goodness. Green grass for everyone, including who knows where, in the desert. Desert probably getting quite a bit of growth out there as well. All right, folks, I'm going to jump off here. Hopefully the power holds up. We got some strong winds out here right now. And be alert here for tonight for the potential auroras again with these ongoing storming conditions. We could see another night similar to what we've seen last night at some of the states that did see the auroras, and includes Washington and maybe even down to Colorado once again. If you have clear skies, that is. That's pretty cool. So get out there if you can. And we'll be back here a little bit later. I don't have any schoolwork due today, so I'll be off here. Just off the side in the computer room, monitoring the activity and, of course, any major changes that I may see out here. We'll jump back in and report on them. If not, then we'll definitely be back here tonight with the complete update on what's going on around the globe and on the sun. We'll catch you guys a little bit later on. Have a good one. Stay safe, folks.